Afternoon, the city's biggest streetcar opponent says he's willing to jump on board if Cincinnati's business community will pay to operate the project.
Yeah, John Cranley, who was elected last month on an anti-streetcar campaign, says he is willing to meet streetcar supporters halfway if they can promise a big pile of operating cash. And Local 12's Joe Webb was at Cranley's announcement this morning. Joins us now live with that story. Good afternoon, Joe.
Good afternoon, John. You know, as we've been reporting, this project has been idled for a little bit more than a week now, and there are still two major hurdles ahead for the streetcar project, despite the mayor's new willingness to compromise. First, some business, foundation or group in Cincinnati has to commit tens of millions of dollars to cover the streetcar's operating costs. Second, they have to do it within the next week, because a week from today, next Thursday, is the Federal Transit Authority's deadline for the $44 million grant to pay for construction. Now, surrounded by leaders of the city's major unions, John Cranley, the mayor, repeated his concern that operating the streetcar could force more brownouts, fewer police, and problems collecting garbage and fixing Cincinnati's streets. He said he met with streetcar supporters and business leaders last night. Said he's willing to meet them halfway. The bottom line, Cranley will shift his support to the streetcar if supporters can find some way to keep the streetcar operating expenses out of the city's already strapped operating budget. No one's sure what that would cost, but the estimates are $3.5 to $4.5 million a year.
If you assume it's roughly $4 million a year at a 5% capitalization rate, that's a net present value to the city of $80 million. And if the business community can take that risk for us, we're willing to meet them halfway by spending the additional capital dollars to complete the first phase.
Now, the mayor did not mention any names of potential backers except for the Haile Foundation, which is already a huge financial supporter of the Smale Riverfront Park and Music Hall renovation. Cranley says they would need to demonstrate their ability to cover the costs with collateral, security, and a legally binding agreement. All of that has to be done within a week. The question is, first of all, who is going to be willing to do this? How can they do it in a week? Secondly, what does all of this mean for those streetcar supporters who are in the midst of a petition drive to get a charter amendment on the ballot? That charter issue and the petition issue, my colleague Jeff Hirsch will have more on that coming up tonight on Local 12 at 6. Reporting live and over the run, I'm Joe Webb, Local 12 News. John?
All right, thank you, Joe.